This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tyler, Musk got asked this week about Oklahoma being an SEC team as of next year. He said he didn't really care at this point. I know they'll start playing more significantly in football, basketball, and baseball starting in 2024. Is there any extra significance, in your opinion, in this game with the two teams being conference foes starting next year?
I don't know if there's extra significance. It's just a really exciting mood right now with this basketball team, which has not been the case this time of the year since Trae Young was on campus. Like, I've been thinking about this all week long. When was the last time people were this in tune and this excited about the basketball team? And it's probably been since Trae Young. And, you know, Kelvin Sampson, that's who I grew up with when he was a basketball coach here in the 90s and the early mid-2000s. And he even said when OU is going to the Final Four in 2002, and then they go to the Elite Eight the year after that, this incredible run with 3 consecutive Big 12 tournament championships as well. They were doing a lot of big things during that time. But even Kelvin said, OU fans really don't care about basketball until football season is officially over and we get to January, mid-January. And that's still true today. But for OU fans to even really get invested in basketball, they have to be really good once we get to early to mid-January as well. Not only does this team look good, but they're playing an exciting brand of basketball. I don't know if it's any more important, this game, for the future, but I do think it's very important to keep this fan base engaged as we're now officially in hoop season around here.
Now, Tyler, I know there wasn't a lot of hype surrounding this team in the preseason. Moser did a good job adding some guys out of the portal. Just talk about some of the players that he was able to add and what kind of matchup dynamic they present for Arkansas tomorrow.
Yeah, and for Arkansas fans that have gone to this game the past couple of years in Tulsa, this is not anything like the team that you've seen the past 2 years. I think this team is a lot better, but just style-wise, they're a lot different. The backcourt is really fun. It's really exciting. Javian McCollum is one of the new names on this roster. I think he's the best scorer they have. We've been asking around here for a few years now, when are they going to get a guy that you can just give him the ball at the top of the key and he can go get you a bucket? Early in the game, late in the game. When are they going to get a guy through recruiting? When are they going to get a guy through the portal that says, hey, we need a bucket, go get us one? Javian McCollum is that guy. But he's not the only one. Milos Uzan is kind of that guy as well. Otega Owe is a guard. I mean, they're really good at the guard spot. Now, I wouldn't say in the post that's where they're best, but they got a couple of nice players. Sam Godwin, who was here a year ago. They got a transfer from Pitt as well. So just kind of all around. They're averaging 85 points per game, which the past 2 years would have been just crazy to think about. Not only did Porter flip this roster, but they weren't playing an exciting brand of basketball the past couple of years. A lot of low-scoring games they were trying to win with defense. Not this year. They're high-flying. They're playing above the rim. It's a fun, exciting team to watch with a lot of new faces for sure.
Tyler, what's Porter Moser's philosophy or approach with the portal? We've seen Eric Musselman overhaul more than half of his roster in his time at Arkansas each and every year. What's Moser's approach? How do they want to deal with NIL and portal within that basketball program?
Yeah, NIL's been lacking a bit with the basketball program. I don't know if that's a huge surprise. I mean, just so much goes to football and, frankly, guys, even softball now around here. There's just not a whole lot to spread out with the basketball program. They're making strides. I think he wants to be just like everyone else and, use the portal. I definitely think he still wants to have good recruiting classes year in and year out, but there hasn't been a whole lot to sell here recently. Like Porter was on the hot seat coming into this year after missing the NCAA tournament the past couple of years. You can't do that 3 years in a row. So it kind of felt like his job was on the line coming into this year, and so far so good. They're 8-0 and a top 20 team, but I think that they want to continue to get 2, 3, maybe even 4 guys a year through recruiting. But will you see OU still use the transfer portal? Absolutely. I don't think it'll be a roster overhaul year in and year out with some programs, and they've still got some young players who are sophomores this year that they got out of recruiting that they really like. But, yeah, Porter's going to always want to dip into the transfer portal. And honestly, guys, at a program like Oklahoma, you're probably going to have to do that on a year-in, year-out basis.
Any appetite with OU administration, boosters, anyone for a new basketball facility? Lloyd Nobles has more seasons behind it than probably ahead of it, and moving into a new league. Any talk or appetite for upgrading that facility?
There is a vote this month, actually, and it's been shot down before. We've been talking about that for 3-4 years now, and the vote is for an off-campus arena, which turns some people off. There's a fight with the city council of Norman. They think it's going to drive away local business. It's been an absolute mess, to be honest with you guys. But it's actually off campus, but they're going to build, or they want to build, an entire entertainment district around. So I'm thinking of, like Ballpark Village in St. Louis, some of these other, Major League Baseball parks, pro places around the country where it's not just the game, but they have an entertainment area around. OU really, really wants this. Porter Moser has publicly, any time he's had a chance, has publicly said, guys, we need this arena, and we need it bad. We need a new arena. Texas just built a new basketball arena, and it is incredible. And a lot of people are showing up now to Texas hoops. They got the new arena. It helps that they're also good. But Baylor is even getting a new arena as well. So some of the teams that you've been playing with in the same conference are upgrading, getting better arenas, and you probably have the worst one in all of the Big 12. I mean, it was really set up as the multi-purpose arena, like maybe more of a place where you host concerts. It's just not a great game day feel. So we've been talking about that for 3, 4, 5 years now. They want to build something around, 75, 8,000, maybe a little bit of a smaller venue, but to get more people there to make it feel full. And honestly, it's going to continue to be one of the major topics when we talk about OU basketball. Will they get that new arena or not?
We're talking with Tyler McComas. He's the host of the host of the Rush in Norman, Drive Time over there on the McCarty Daniel Hotline. Tyler, you just mentioned the appetite for football that OU fans had relative to basketball. So let's change subjects to football. I know this season Dylan Gabriel had some good stats. He's transferring out, was able to beat Texas in that wild game in Dallas. Oklahoma did not make the Big 12 championship. What is the just the feel that you get about that program from a football standpoint? Do they feel like they're on good terms right now as they enter the SEC next year?
I think there's confidence, but there's also somewhat of realistic expectations. Like, I think everyone knows what OU's walking into. And I don't know, Ty, if I've said it to you this way, but the way that I phrased it on my show is, I think OU's schedule this year, and you play teams like UCF at home, TCU at home, Iowa State at home, a soft non-conference schedule, but you are at BYU, at Cincinnati. It's more than likely the easiest schedule that you're ever going to have in program history now that you're moving into the SEC. So you go from, which probably going to be the easiest schedule that you just had moving forward, to maybe the toughest schedule that you've had, certainly in recent memory, but maybe in program history next year. Going to LSU, going to Auburn, going to Ole Miss, going to Missouri, Bama and Tennessee, coming to Norman, playing Texas on a neutral site. There is an incredible amount of excitement. People are ready to be in the SEC. We think that we fit there better, especially on the football side. Are a bunch of people around here going to be predicting national championship or an SEC title berth? I don't think the majority of the people will be expecting that. But now there's always high expectations with this program. Will people be really upset if they roll off a 7-5 next year? Absolutely. Will people be upset if you're an 8-4 team next year? Probably, yeah. If I had to guess next year what the expectations are of the fan base going into 2024, your first year in the SEC, I'm going to guess it's somewhere between 9-3 and 10-2 next year is what I would probably guess.
How's Brent Venables in terms of stability right now? Where is he at with that fan base?
Oh, good. I think his approval rating is still is still very high because everyone here recognizes that, he at least has the right blueprint, or at least the blueprint that's always worked at OU. Because OU's never won a national championship without an elite defense. And Lincoln Riley was going to try and win a national championship without really a good defense ever. And really towards the end, you recognize that's not going to happen. That's not going to bring you consistency in the SEC. And there's still questions with Brent. They're getting dominated in time of possession way too often. Maybe that's more on Jeff Levy, who's now the head coach at Mississippi State. They got to do things offensively, not so up-tempo, that helps out their defense quite a bit. But the overall fan approval of Brent Venables, the 10-2 absolutely helped. The game management was a lot better this year. The recruiting classes continue to be excellent, and they're getting big-time players on the defensive side of the ball, which wasn't happened with the previous coaching staff. I think a lot of people feel good about where it's at, but of course we'll see where it's at in a year's time. It's a huge year, and it's crazy to think about it this way, but it is a new chapter of OU football. It's pretty wild what's about to happen around here.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.